That's what I'm saying. But all right, bro. So, I guess we're here. So, like, what do you want to do with like what value do you want to like offer? So, like,
Well, first of all, Nico, I mean, like, 'cause, I mean, we both been through some intimate relationships. What do you feel like? What do you feel like is starts to a good foundation of a relationship
wow,
with anybody? Not just an
not
intimate
intimate.
relationship. I mean, it could be intimate, but I mean, just in a personal relationship in itself,
Okay,
regardless who they are, what's the baseline standards?
okay. I would say identity.
Identity.
Yeah. So, like, with any relationship, whether it's you, a friend, a significant other, or God, um, your relationship to the world is pretty much like you start off with the relationship with yourself. So I would think that like after if you go through like a tough breakup or anything like that, like you could question your identity, and I think that prevents you from finding a person like friends or relationships with people that you really like and enjoy,
Yeah.
because like your identity is and your identity shifts too as you grow and you mature. So the way you think of yourself and the way you view yourself is always changing and is different. So that's why sometimes you outgrow people, outgrow friends, outgrow certain relationships. But I think like the standard base for finding like people, like I find my friends who I go back to high school with, and like they're cool ass characters to this day still. We can crack up, but their identity and my identity are different than what our identity was back then.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're gonna get into any relationship or talk about forming a relationship or trying to make a connection with somebody, it's discovering your identity.
That's very true. That's very true. I feel that.
What would you say?
Well, I mean, shit. I mean, I've just been pondering this just very recently when it comes to stuff like this. I mean, the baseline standard for me, I just feel like, I mean, you gotta have honesty, you gotta have loyalty, you gotta have respect, you gotta have faithful, you gotta be faithful. And what do I mean by that? I mean, honesty. I mean, of course, I mean, being honest regardless if the truth hurts or not. Like, I mean, you can make. I mean, this is the thing is that yeah, you could have a surface level relationship and tell a lie to make somebody feel better about that, but the moment you try and start creating a deep relationship with somebody, you can't have those lies. You have those lies and you ain't got a relationship, because the moment they find that out, you're breaking trust. I mean, trust takes years to build but can be lost in a moment. Like, I mean, that shit's just too real. And then you loyalty, like, I mean, shit, I mean, that can be tied into that too. I mean, just being loyal to your people. I mean, like, the people who you bring into your life, there's a reason you're bringing them into your life. Like, it's not just you're bringing them in here for just some willy-nilly bullshit. Like, you're bringing them in because you want to build them up. You're bringing them in because you feel like you have something to offer them, to be able to grow, to be able to build them. And then you got faithfulness, which, I mean, I feel like that ties into loyalty, obviously. I mean, no cheating, I mean, physically, emotionally, spiritually, like that needs to be a huge key on. Like, I mean, like, if you're committing to something, you gotta stay committed.
Right.
Like, if you ain't staying committed, I mean, you ain't got nothing there. And
Right.
then respect, I mean that goes both ways with everybody, but I mean, respect is the biggest key.
Yeah.
I mean, not the biggest, but I mean, it's a huge key. Like,
Wow.
like, I mean, because if you ain't got respect, what the fuck you got?
Okay.
Like, I mean, like respect. I mean, that's the foundation of love.
Yeah.
Like, if you ain't got respect, you won't have love, because I mean, that's just the foundation of love in itself. But
So I heard you say like you just named like five values, five good values and four values, and I think that is exactly back to the point when I talk about identity, is recognizing your values.
Yeah.
And where you stand with your values.
Yeah.
Because then you can establish with the relationships you make with other people where are their values and how you can integrate, help, or they can help, each other. So when you're talking about having faith, and having respect, and having these things, everyone values one of those far at a different scale than you do.
Definitely.
Everybody's
a little different.
Everyone's a little different. And I think that having the thing with the identity is that we make these relationships without knowing our identity. So what that means is we don't know until till we know. You know, we don't know until the point is where we are forced to figure out what it is, you know? And it's crazy because, like I said, your identity is always changing. But I think to discover your identity, or at least to have a better understanding presently of where your identity at, is learning your values. Like, what is important to you right now?
Yeah.
And from there, it can determine how deep do you want to go in a relationship with other people and with other things. And you start to realize where you place in your values. Sometimes you place other people. I've placed other people as like having someone else as my identity.
Yeah.
You know, like having them around me, it's like that's me, and that's unconscious. Like, you know, for me to do that. But I think that finding your values is finding your identity and recognizing that and see how you could set a scale for yourself. Know where you reside, and then notice other people too. And certain people set certain standards and boundaries. Naturally, I like to break boundaries. Like I like to push boundaries, and it's like I had a good intention. Like I enjoy pushing boundaries. Yeah. But everybody, I didn't even realize that like everybody has these, like we said, a different set of values. Yeah. So, for example, like, I'd be at my uncle's house. I'd go in there, open the fridge, make me a meal, grab me some chips, sit down, and I'd be comfortable. Yeah. And my uncle's like, "What the heck you do? You just go into my fridge and da-da-da." And to me, I didn't mean to overstep any boundaries. I was just comfortable.
Yeah, it was like, what do you mean? You're my uncle, though. Like,
right. But also, too, in other cases, like, I like to push boundaries in a way where, because people do that, I want to push the boundaries to the matter, like, hey, like, loosen up, like, you know, don't be so tight, you know, and for certain things, like, oh, I don't want to go for a run, or I don't want to go do this, like, no, let's push these boundaries, or a certain process has to be done this way, no, let's push the boundaries, you know, doing that. But that has also set me back as well, because in the process of that, I may have made some people uncomfortable, which could be a good thing, has been beneficial, and it also can be a bad thing, because sometimes I overstep or I overstep my own line, you know. Yeah. And I'll throw one more example. I remember I was staying at a significant other's house at one point, family member's house at one point, and homie had an overzealous amount of weed. Yeah. Okay, when I say that, I'm talking about over pounds and pounds. Okay, but he grows. Okay, and I remember, like, he would love when I would go and I would just tuck him joints, you know, and I would tuck him fat joints, and because he didn't know how to tuck joints, but he had unlimited weed, right? Yeah. And I remember one time I went in there to go grab some for me. Yeah. And like, he came out and, you know, he checked me respectfully, and at the time it like really threw me off. It had me shook, because I just figured, like, oh, you know, I'm not trying to take or steal from him. You know what I mean? I just, like, you know, I push that boundary, you know? And it opens people up, but it closes them off too as well. But values.
And it can open up doors, it can close doors at the same time. Like, I mean, there's definitely certain ways to push certain boundaries, and there's just some that you really just gotta hold off on. Like, you know, you just gotta really read the situation, know who they are, and then move on with that. Like, I mean, because you're definitely right. Pushing boundaries can be healthy to an extent. Like,
how do you identify boundaries that could be pushed or
I mean, it's
like selfish and selflessness.
Essentially, you just gotta identify it with an individual. I mean, you know, like, say, like, I mean, just like, you know, let's just go the simple, you know, like unhealthy person with needing a healthier lifestyle, like, just so you're saying, like, pushing somebody to go for a run, something like that. Like, I mean, you're doing it in a respectful manner, not like, hey, get up, let's go fucking run, or anything like that. Like, it's like, yo, just on a consistent basis, just like, hey, you want to come on a run with me? You got to set the example first. That's the thing, is you can't push without setting an example. And so when like,
you got to be the example
exactly first. And not just that, you got to be the example, because you got to, this person's got to be willing in their mind to be uncomfortable around you. And that takes a lot for somebody to open up like that. But at the same time, people are willing to do it if you can get to that trust level.
So it kind of sucks though if you want someone to do something good with their life, but you can't tell them.
You can't force anybody.
Because you're not like doing crazy good in that area. Like, you know, seeing someone like blow their money, but they're making more money like than you, you know, telling somebody that like, yo, that's not cool, like that's an addiction that you might have, or hey, like I wouldn't be doing that, but it's like, oh, who am I to talk, you know? But if I'm a person who goes to the gym every day, and or someone who's really athletic and is consistent basis, and I approach someone who is not athletic, I can do that.
Yeah, but it's also it's that respect key. Instead of approaching them like, oh, you're fat, like come work out with me or something like that. Say, yo, man, I mean, I see that sometimes, like, I mean, you just don't really want to do anything. Like, I mean, if you'd like to instill some healthier habits in your life, like, I'd be more than happy to take you to the gym with me.
So identifying these barriers. Because I have another example I'll throw at you. One time I went to your house, and I mean, we're cool, you know? We're cool with each other. And I went in your kitchen and I seen a mango. And I like mangoes, you know? And I was like, oh, it's a mango, you know, the store has them, you know, $1, $2. You know, just tripping on you, maybe get them. And I just, you know, went back upstairs to your room with you, and I'm just chomping on this mango. And you're like, where'd you get that mango? You know, you weren't offended or nothing. You have, you know, similar, you push boundaries and you're open too. You know, in a similar way, I assume, but like things like that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, the only reason why I wasn't tripping on it though. I had plans with those two mangoes, so I was just kind of like, ah, damn.
But you see, like I didn't take that in consideration. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it, like you said, like it wasn't. You weren't trying to be selfish, or I wasn't trying to be like I had bad intentions with it, but. It can easily turn into, you know, you easily could have, you know, been bothered. You know,
been an asshole about it.
Yeah, no, been really affected by that.
Which, I mean, I just feel like that'd be kind of ridiculous if somebody was, but I mean, yeah, I mean, that's a different conversation.
Okay, so you brought up, okay, like being in a relationship, like what's a good key to establishing a relationship in all areas?
Well, let's start with this honesty piece, because I mean honestly, this has been a struggle in my life recently. I just really instilled some real bad habits into myself over the past 2 years. Toxic relationship back 2-3 years ago, and I was just instilling terrible selfish habits in my life. And then I got into a different relationship where I truly love this person, like the person who I feel like is for me, but I carried these bad habits into this relationship, like compulsively lying.
Did you think you were a liar when you went in the relationship? Did you know you were a liar? These bad habits, did you know?
I knew I had these bad habits, but I figured since this was the person I wanted to be with, that they were just going to change. But that's just not the case, because our minds are like computers. I mean, the way you program it, it's going to stay that way until you reprogram it. And so if you're going to be a liar constantly, like taking on the fact, like we had a falling out, and essentially our relationship wasn't really good in each other's family's eyes. For me, I was going to be with this woman one way or another. I just nonchalantly lied to my mom about it. Now, given she knew about the situation for a long time, that we were seeing each other and whatnot, but it was still the fact that the person who I respect most of my life, I was nonchalantly lying to her. Like, and it may be a small little white lie, but if I'm willing to lie to my mom, like, who does that mean that I'm not willing to lie to you? Willing to lie to my dad, willing to lie to my loved one. Like, and that's just, it's not the way you want to be. Like honesty is everything.
So at what point did you notice, like, you're a liar? Like, you lie to yourself sometimes so much it seems true, you know?
Yeah.
You lie to yourself so long that your lie is like, okay, I'm believing this now. I'm going with this. I'm running with this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Almost too, like, in my own retrospect, if I want to say anything like, oh, I want to be the best artist in the world, am I lying to myself? Yeah. You know? Yeah. Do I, or, you know, how you know, identifying, I don't know, how did you approach, like,
so essentially when it came to me, so, my there's obviously no reason for lying, period. But in my mind, for the time being, the reason why I was able to put lying okay in my mind was, in my mind, I wasn't hurting as many people, or I wasn't making the situation as bad by saying something else than what had really happened. And for
like
me,
sugarcoating it.
yeah, sure. Well, not some. I mean, sometimes sugarcoating it, sometimes just completely different fucking story than what it needs to be, because I don't want to hurt that person. But ultimately, the person who you have the people who you have intimate relationships with, like, they're not surface level people. They're gonna see mostly past those lies. And so what you're doing is that not only that you're betraying trust, but then you're not being loyal to the fact that, all right, I feel like I can lie to your face even though that I know that you know I'm lying. And that's just, I mean, that's a very toxic trait to have. And I mean, the only way to really get rid of that is just, you just got to really just start hammering your brain for a rewiring disposition.
Rewire.
Like, essentially, and that's just, I mean, Tony Robbins hits on it hard. I mean, essentially, like you gotta instill new habits into your life. So if you don't want to be a liar anymore, you gotta pound that into your head that you're not gonna be a liar anymore. You're not gonna do that shit anymore.
Okay.
Like that's a huge piece on that. I mean,
I'm glad you brought that up, dude, because honesty. Okay. There's a lot of layers to honesty, but there's ways that we lie to significant others, and then there's ways that we lie to ourselves. And this is what brings in illusion, you know?
Yeah.
Mirages, you know? Where, you know, you're thirsty, you know, you want to drink some water. So you see water, and you see the water over there, and you're doing whatever it takes to get to that water just to keep getting there and realizing, like, what the fuck, there's no water, you know? And you can keep going and going until you finally, like, accept, like, you know? But what's the point between you realizing, you know, there's a point where it's either you gave up on trying to find the water, or you like realize like there's gonna be no water. And this is where we're talking about honesty and illusion. Okay, mirages.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like living a false reality?
Yeah.
Okay. That line between, you know, keeping it frank with you, where, you know, what you're indulging in or what you're partaking in is a part of you.
Yeah. It's
benefiting you, or it is fulfilling you.
Yeah.
I think that's what it ultimately comes down to, like with the honesty part, you know? It's not a fulfilling thing, you know? It's when you're not being honest, you would rather partake in the mirage.
Yeah.
You know? Yo, bro, stop, dude. There's water. Like, there's no water down there, dude. Yeah. Bro, I see it, you see it. I'm gonna keep going. You know? And it's cool. Like, I appreciate the tenacity, you know? Because I probably would give up. But it's like that honesty to, like, drop all mirages, drop all illusions. Because it's a mirage, bro. Yeah. It looks like water. It's an illusion. Yeah. You know? And that's where I presently in my life, I think is one of the most important things right now, where I'm discovering the difference between, I don't want to say reality. Yeah. Because what is reality, you know? You know? But, okay, perception versus awareness. Yeah. All right, so let me kind of give a clearer view. Perception is like you're looking in your room, so you're looking around your room or your car or wherever, anything like that. And wherever direction you're looking, like for example, I'm seeing this left corner of the room. That's like the perception I'm seeing, right? Mm-hmm. And I see everything. I see these cans. I see, you know, these whiskeys going on right there. But that's my perception. Yeah. Okay. Awareness is seeing the whole entire room. Behind me, in front of me, around me, you know, the whole picture. Yeah. And sometimes when we talk about crossing boundaries, like when I took that mango, like your perception definitely could have popped off, you know, but your awareness was like, you know, it was a mango. When I grabbed that mango though, that was my perception. Yeah. My perception was, oh, $2 mango, da da da. I was looking at the left corner of the room. Yeah. I didn't look at the whole picture. Like, okay, whatever. It's a $2 mango, right? Correct. Yeah. But he's just upstairs, so I can just ask him. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference. Yeah. So now we're talking about honesty. Honesty, breaking down these illusions and these mirages, because they're tricky.
That's very true.
They're tricky, dude. They get me every day. They get me all the time. But, like, it's like playing chess. It's like this is where your mind too, like your perception is your mind, you know, or some people call your ego, you know, like their sleight of hand, the way they manipulate and they trick you, is like, it's good. Like it's not. I mean, it's not good. It is good, but it's really sly and tricky, man.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, mirages are not really what you're wanting to follow in that metaphor. I mean, it's just like.
But you don't know when you're in mirage mode, like, you know, what's the trigger for you to like notice, like, all right, I'm in an illusion. I'm chasing a mirage, you know, cause right, a mirage seems real to whoever's chasing it right now. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell someone, yo, bro, that's a mirage. Bullshit. You know.
See that, and that's where I mean, it's just a little bit weird with me because every time I do it, I know what I'm doing. Like if that makes sense. Like I'm chasing that water, and I know in my mind there's no water there, but I still keep going for it.
Okay, what's telling you that there's no water there, and what's telling you that's water's there?
I mean,
because there's a perception, there's something leading you to keep going.
Yeah.
But then you also mentioned, which we do recognize, like there's something that is telling you no, but then there's also telling you yes.
It's just essentially, I feel like we got an angel and a demon that lives in us. And essentially, our angel perceives and has awareness of like, yo, man, there's no water there. But our devil's like, but keep going, you never know. And the awareness is there in my mind that it continues to tell me that there's no water there, but the other side of it tells you, but you never know, just keep going. Just keep going.
Boom.
Just keep going.
Okay.
And
that's beautiful.
And so it's like, it's in a sense like you're fighting two people at once in your mind. Like you're completely aware that you're in this argument with the other piece of you, and this other piece of you is still driving your feet towards that mirage.
Ooh, that battle.
When the other one's telling you, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
But
you gotta slow down when you.
Exactly. It's the fact of, I mean, it's that old saying of the Native American tribesmen of when the sun asked him, I mean, you got a dark wolf and you got a light wolf.
Oh yeah, shout out to the Native Americans.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about.
It's the dark wolf. You got
your dark wolf and you got your light wolf over here. And that's your good and evil. And the young kid asked, well, I mean, which one do you listen to, or which one essentially takes over you? And he simply says, the one you feed the most.
The one that
and
you
I feel
feed
like
the most.
I feel like where I'm at a real battle with myself is that I used to feed nothing but the light side of me, the positivity, the faithfulness part of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And in my early onset up until into like later high school, and then later high school came and different relationship came on, different stresses came on, and I started feeding that darkness. And I just continued to feed that darkness while also feeding the light at the same time. But to the point of essentially I've brought these two entities in my mind to have almost the same power when it shouldn't be like that. So essentially, and essentially to get that disposition out of you, it's just that programming piece. Like essentially, Tony Robbins also hits on, I mean, this is his John Hughes gives him this beautiful, beautiful metaphor. He's like, if your worst enemy drops sugar into your coffee, what do you get? He says, I get sweet coffee.
Right.
But if your best friend, who has the best intentions for you in the world, drops a drop of strychnine in your coffee, what are you? You're dead. And his metaphor of it is like, you're right. So you got to guard that coffee regardless of who's in your life. Like they could be your closest people
with the best
intentions, but also sometimes that doesn't mean anything. And so you got to be aware in that situation to know which you need to follow.
I can relate that to a lot, because there's a lot of people that I love. It's like a person could only offer you the tools that they have.
Exactly.
You know, they'll offer you the tools that they have and what they, to their awareness, to their perception, what will help you.
Yeah.
And sometimes the tools that they have to offer is not necessarily the tools you don't need, because it's like sometimes you got to take what it is. It's not, you can't be picky. You don't be picky. At times I felt like I felt myself be picky, like, oh, I don't want that. But it really is like that, what they're offering, even though it's out of the best intention, or out of the best, it doesn't serve me, I guess. And where I'm getting with this is an experience, or what I'm thinking is just like, I've had a few family members who think it's a good idea for me to like be a police officer. No disrespect, shout out to all the police officers out there,
Yeah,
But
love my uncle.
yeah, I have a lot of family out there in the correctional office, and like, that's a good idea,
Yeah.
but it just that's just not, at least right now, presently, like, that's not what it is. Who knows, maybe 5 years later, my tell me I told you so, because I'm enlisting. But it's kind of shitty, because sometimes someone does offer you the best and what they perceive, but maybe they're not thinking at their best, or maybe they're just thinking at their from their angle, from their view.
Exactly. They're thinking, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it selfish, but they're thinking from their own point of view of, hey, this may be good for you, when you're a completely different person.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they could be trying to push you to become a police officer or a corrections officer or anything like that. But in reality, you may be built for, say, leadership or development, or, say, hell, even running your own fast food joint or something. Like, I mean, it could just be a completely different mindset, completely different area of life where you need to be thriving than where they're thriving.
Dude, see, they can love you.
They can definitely love you.
But they could still feed you illusions.
Definitely, that's true. That's very true.
If they can love you, they can still feed you illusions. And this illusion, okay, I think this is, I'm glad that we're hitting this topic now, because the biggest shift and what has been happening for me, that in my entire life, that I didn't finally get, that I am actually been on lately, is realizing, like, this is not like homie, you're not talking to yourself. Like, you're not having a conversation. Like, you're not communicating with yourself.
Yeah.
I had someone tell me that, and they looked at me like I was crazy, and I looked at them like, why are you looking at me like I'm crazy because I don't talk to myself? But then this is where we come to. You said angel and demon, that light wolf and dark wolf. Okay. There's these voices that are in your head.
Yeah.
Okay? One of them, they can become in multiple ways and forms, but what I've identified, and this is me and my exploration in the past month and a half, or it's close to 2 months of me focusing on this, knowing this and seeing the results so far. There's 2 voices in you.
Yeah.
Okay? And one of them is pointing you in the direction of fulfillment, and one of them is pointing you in the direction of illusion.
And you know what's funny about them is that even though one is completely negative and one is completely positive, both of them think in their minds that they have the best intentions for you. Like it's like, even though, like, you lead off on the, like, say if you lead off on this path of chaos with the darkness, like, obviously that's not the best intention, that's not the best for you, like the actions, the results that are coming from it.
So, you mentioned the positivity and the negativity factor of these voices.
Yeah.
As I've got to see the negative, as you say, as negative, or how I identify my negative, for some reason it's gotten stronger, I would say, or it puffs its chest out. So I'm gonna just bring it in like this, okay? There's 2 voices in you.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, they speak, okay? And the one that points you towards fulfillment doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
And the one that points you towards, like, illusion, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It would give me the best reasons why I should go ahead and go do these things. And then I go do it, and I end up being unfulfilled.
Yep.
Feeling more emptier than before. And I'm like, where you ever just hit that full circle? You're like, damn it, I knew the answer. Why'd I do this? And you keep doing it then again. Today's my last time.
Yeah.
Today's the day I start this. And you're like, fuck. You know what I'm saying? This is where. So, okay, honesty. Okay, honesty. We're talking about honesty and these illusions that we have, okay?
Yeah.
And that these two voices, okay? And they continuously throw you and pitch to you what is what going on, okay? Now what I've came now and now identifying like for a fact that there's these voices now is now playing with or messing with, you know what I'm saying? Where is this taking me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I think that where I'm at right now is there's things that make your heart expand and there's things that make your heart shrivel.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and the things that make your heart expand, we're talking about love, man.
That's very true.
Okay, so when it comes to the conversation of love, there's a lot of forms of love. There's a lot of ways people describe love, and we could spend for hours defining what love is, but like the most authentic form of love.
Yeah.
You named all these beautiful values earlier, and when we're talking about the most authentic form of love, okay, people talk about self-love. Self-love is the best love. You gotta love yourself until you love other people, okay? Or you gotta, and I got to that point, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to the point where I was a little bit selfish, kind of. I didn't know how to give to people.
Yeah.
So guess what? I got to the point where I found someone who I gave love to.
Yeah.
And I gave them a lot of love, or to what I thought was a lot of love. And when I did that, it was good at first. And then it ended up not fulfilling me. Then I said, after whatever that was, I transitioned. Okay, I'm going to just give myself now all the love. Because I was just giving this love, it didn't fulfill me. So I started giving myself all this love. So I started doing these selfish things, and guess what? It ended up not fulfilling me either.
Yeah.
So now, the formula that I found is that, you know, it's selfishness where you're doing it for yourself and selflessness where you're doing it for someone else, okay? Would you rather be selfless or selfish? The truth is, when it comes from the most authentic form of love, when we do love, like when you talked about good intentions, sometimes we do it from a completely selfless or a completely selfish point of view. When we're talking about the highest form of authentic love that exists, is when that is one thing.
Yep.
I see it, or what is the way that the Most Highs love you, the way that Elohim, the way that God, he has that love for you, where it's raw.
Yeah.
You know, there's no sugarcoating shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's raw.
Yeah.
You know, and everything's not all peace, love, daisies. You know what I'm saying?
No.
It's cutthroat. You know, it's to the cut. So now we're talking about this love now, and selfishness versus selflessness. Okay, and what's changed for me is blending this. So as I started exploring my identity, my relationship, my communication with myself, that's also the communication with the Creator.
Yeah.
Okay, and the communication that you have the Creator and the love that you feel from that's fulfilling, dude.
Yeah.
That's fulfilling. And that's where you talk about you putting love out here or there, and it's just not being reciprocated in the ways you want. But you have two voices, and paying attention to these voices. Like, if there's anything that I could give, it's literally like, yo, start identifying with these voices.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where I finally found names for them.
Yeah.
It sounds funny, but I found names for these guys, for them. And like I was seeing posts on Instagram where people are like, oh, people usually run from the demons or scare off the demons. I sit down and I have conversations with them. I had a lady tell me, a friend of mine, she told me that she's learning to love her demons. And I was like, what do you mean by that? Like, that's kind of fucking scary. loving your demons. No, they're coming from a place of not love. Okay, they're coming from a place of scarcity, fear, doubt, all that stuff. So when we're talking about the negative side, it's not negative, bye. It's okay. You could feed the wolf, all right? You could feed the wolf, but you got to give that wolf love from the most selfish, unselfish part of you.
Well, I just want to touch on that. When I feel like when you talking about selflessness and selfishness, so I feel like when it comes to this, you got to have a balance of both. But when I'm meaning selfishness, I'm not meaning it in the sense of what you're doing is detrimental to the people that you love that are around you. What I mean by that is that you got to be selfish in the fact that you got to prioritize like physical love for yourself. So taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, you know. So essentially Tony Robbins, I mean, adding on to that, essentially, like your mind is a gateway. Like your mind is everything you got.
Greatest weapon, greatest enemy.
Exactly. So say if you're doing nothing but putting porn in your mind, you're doing nothing but lying, you're doing nothing but cheating, you're doing nothing but just terrible, heinous things. That's just gonna completely resonate with your mind. That's what's gonna be programmed to it. It's gonna be programmed with toxicity, and that's where the demons come from.
Yeah, the illusions.
Yes, exactly.
And
essentially, where I mean by the selfishness coming in is that you got to do it from a positive environment. Essentially, so I mean, reading books, growing spiritually, working out, like prioritizing your health. Like instead of, all right, I'm gonna give all my time to this person because I love them, but not focusing on yourself. You can give love to other people, but if you don't focus on yourself first and take care of,
it's the basis. You're the foundation.
Yeah, you're the foundation of your love that you're gonna give to everybody else.
Right.
If your foundation's weak, you ain't got love to give. Mm-hmm. So taking care of yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, that is the biggest key to essentially being able to love other people. And so you can't sacrifice that time that you need to be at your best to be with other people. Mm-hmm. You got to have that fine balance of, all right, I spend all this time with all my people, the people who I love the most and dearly close to me, but you got to make sure on a daily basis that you draw out that time for yourself to be able to take care of yourself.
Why love yourself?
You always got to love yourself, baby. I mean, if you don't love yourself, how are you supposed to love other people?
Well, like, what about, like, if I was to go ahead and go do some, like, reckless things that are against my heart? Like, or, for example, like, if I'm going to say, all right, boom, today's the day I stop drinking, okay? And I go ahead and I go drink whatever. Why did I stop loving myself?
Well, see, that's the thing, is the identification of the positive and the negative. Like, loving yourself isn't, because, I mean, it's touching back on how you're saying that you may go do something that you think is going to fulfill you or make you feel loved, and you do that selfish thing and you don't feel loved.
That's the illusion.
That's the illusion. It's identifying what is healthy and what is not. Saying
what makes your heart expand and what makes it shrivel. Exactly. Identifying that.
Exactly. That's what I mean. That personal growth of loving yourself, that comes from reading books. That comes from working out. That comes from eating right. I mean, physiology is like the biggest part of human chemistry for us to be able to function properly.
And honestly, just listen to your body, dude.
Yeah, listen to your body.
When I'm talking about these voices, like, it really is just like you're just listening to your body.
Yeah.
How do you listen to your body? It's not hard to listen to your body.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's from the moment you wake up, it talks, to the moment you go to sleep, to the moment you shit. It's your body. It's talking to you, like dead ass. It's talking to you, and you just pitched all good ideas. You can go for a read, run. What I've been doing lately. Like I said, I've been making music and writing and stuff. But why do I do it? Or what? All these things that I could create a list for me to do, but when it comes down to loving yourself, right, which is the whole theme of breaking these illusions, finding fulfillment, and being able to, finding fulfillment. Mm-hmm. It's doing things that make your heart expand.
Yeah.
And noticing when you're diverging from that.
Yeah.
And you feel it.
Yeah.
You feel it when your heart hurts, dude. You feel it when you just can't see. You can't see it's hard time for you to see what's right. You know.
It's that perceptive. You don't got awareness in that situation.
Yeah, you don't got. It's complete perception.
Yeah.
It's complete perception. But this, pay attention to your body. Like, start taking notes. Like, and you'll start to see, as you do things that make your heart expand. You'll start to. It becomes clearer.
Yeah.
When it doesn't, okay? And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, why certain things are the way they are, And if you're doing something right now, if it doesn't make your heart expand, then guess what? You're gonna end up chasing the same mirage. I'm gonna be chasing the same mirage. I'm gonna be chasing the same mirage,
Yeah.
And your why, your heart. So pay attention to your body.
Your why is the main thing. Why are you doing this? Like, why? Like, anything positive or negative, like, that's the first thing you should be asking yourself is, why are you doing this? Like, is this going to make you happy? Is this going to fulfill you? Is this healthy? Is this right?
So why did you want to be here and speak on this podcast?
I mean, my why of speaking on this podcast is essentially it's just time for change. Like,
How do you identify your why? You said time for change, so you picked up the answer.
Yeah.
But, like, I forgot that was even a thing the other day. I was like, someone asked me, oh, I see you wake up and you do push-ups. Like, why? And I was like, I couldn't get them an answer. It sounds funny, but, like, I just been doing it so habitually. And, you know, for someone who wants to find their why.
Yeah.
We recognizing the why is important, okay? The why, all right? How do I start to find my why?
Well, you just gotta start racking it out on you. So I mean, it depends on the situation. Say, let's just use as simply as this: you want a better relationship with your woman.
Mm-hmm.
With your why.
Shout out to the wives.
Shout out to the wives.
Shout out to the queens. Not all wives, but the queens especially.
Mad respect. But I mean, your why simply starts off with this. I mean, I want a better relationship with my woman. The why is because that's gonna make us happier. That's gonna make us healthier as an individual, as a family. That puts us into a growth state. Like your why needs to essentially be your reasoning to that whole subject. So
Right. So, like, what about, like, if like in a relationship? I'm throwing like really like some questions, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll come back one day and answer these, you know.
Yeah.
But okay, like, what about, like, when you split, or if you ever break up or break a connection with someone? Okay, you guys see two different visions or whys.
Yeah.
And you can't see that person's why. Okay.
Yeah.
It almost torments you to try to figure out what their why is.
Yeah.
It's almost irrelevant because their why is whatever their why is going to be, whether it makes sense or doesn't. So, what, like, identifying a why, you want to come together with someone, but in the terms of, like, importance, okay, we'll swoop it into relationships, bring it back to the relationships like that, and come to the conclusion we're coming around to relationships. What's important in your relationship is what you value, because what you value is your identity, and what you value in your identity is your why.
Yeah.
Why do you value? Why are they your values? Actually, part of finding your identity, or to find your identity and find your values, it's with why.
Yeah.
And you find your why by communicating with yourself.
Yeah.
You find your why by communicating with these voices in yourself, identifying them, and trial and error. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course. I mean, life's a journey. I mean,
Wow.
Life's just. I mean, that's lessons. Like,
Wow.
I mean, from the moment you're born, from the moment you die, you're learning the entire way. Like, there's no destination until you die. So, and I feel like people have a big issue with that, where they're 40 years old, but they stop growing. You might as well just dig their freaking grave right then and there, because what's the point of life? Like, us as humans, our drive for happiness in life is growth. Like, if you're not growing, you're not happy.
You just when you're
And
stagnant and you just
Like, it's proven in every single person that shows up that aren't happy, or they're depressed or anything like that. They're just stagnant. They're not growing, or they're not meeting the expectation they thought they had in their life, or they're not meeting the blueprint
that's
in
a
their
river
life.
and a pond right there.
Yeah.
When the river flows, you can drink from the water.
Exactly.
If it's flowing and moving, but if it's just there now, you ever seen a puddle? Just a nasty ass
Yeah,
river.
nasty.
It just
Can't do nothing
it's
with it.
stagnant.
Yeah, it's stagnant. It's
and
dirty. You can't drink from it. Like, nah.
So get in the river flowing.
Exactly.
Get this water moving. Like it's okay to be. That's actually when you're communicating with yourself. What tormented me at first is when you're moving fast. It's hard to identify, and you don't know what's the right decision and which one's the right one to do. The best way that I've been able to identify my heart
are the clearest, most clarity moments where I've been able to say, oh, you're this guy, and you're this guy, which are the two names, that I've identified, is when I'm still.
Yeah.
That's when, okay, you ain't getting me. No one's getting me right now.
Yeah.
I'm here. I see you now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're here and you're here. All right. Now let's move with stillness.
Yeah, the balance between, you got to have that river flowing, but you also have to have those pieces of dead water throughout that river so you can take that time to reflect.
Yeah. You know how from the moment we wake up, we wake up, boom, we go on our phone, right? Then, we go and hit the shower, we throw on some music, singing to some tunes, we get ready, get in the car, maybe listen to a podcast or listen to some music on our way to work. Get to work, we're surrounded by people, communicating with people, boom, 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 boom. After we get off work, we go to the gym, okay, surrounded by people, communication, then we come home. Usually there's people home. We're communicating with the people at home, okay? Then, after we have our whole day and we finally go back to our room where it is silent and we are there to ourselves, what do? Open the laptop and we pick back our phone and we go on YouTube and we're back at it again.
Brain dead.
Yes.
For the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everything like that's a tool. You can use it for good. You can use it for evil.
Right.
Like I'm not disregarding that, but I just mean in the sense that
you're not being still. You're not giving yourself the time to be still.
Yeah.
And when you do that day to day, consistently, Monday you did the same thing. Tuesday, Wednesday, it starts to add up. Where if you go 10 days and you haven't sat in a room by 5 minutes, or you haven't sat outside 5 minutes by yourself with no distractions, bro. No wonder you think your reality is the way it is.
Yeah. I mean, Tony Robbins hits that hard. I mean, you gotta have that, like, even a small piece of 15 minutes to yourself of positive development every single day is needed. Because if you don't got 15 minutes to give to your own life, you don't got a life.
What matters? What matters, dude? What matters is what makes your heart expand.
Yeah.
And I'll conclude this by start doing things that make your heart expand.
Yeah.
That's it. That's really the basis. Start by doing things that make your heart expand, and give yourself the luxury of having that stillness.
Yeah.
Even being in the shower thoughts be hitting.
Oh, definitely.
Shower thoughts be hitting.
It's meditation, bro.
Because that's the only time, pretty much, a lot of people today that are still.
Yeah.
Start figuring out, okay, this is what I gotta do. Noticing the things that make you still also happen to make your heart expand.
Yeah.
When you're in your zone. When I'm making music or I'm writing, and stuff, like, it's still.
Yeah.
Of course I'm moving, but it's still. They call it the flow state, you know? But I would conclude, find some time to be still, and notice what makes your heart expand.
Yeah.
Start communicating with yourself. Start having a conversation. Start chop it up. Start joking with yourself. I'll be laughing sometimes. I'll be laughing myself. But I think we'll probably leave it right there on that note in terms of relationships and clearing out a lot of congestion.
Yeah.
Is that stillness and seeing past the illusions, because there's illusions everywhere. We wake up, there's illusions. Definitely. And that's what's holding us back from the fulfillment. Yeah. So in order for us to come back, we got to go back to point zero, ground zero, and the only way we can come back there, is we have to be still.
Yeah, I got one quick point to add on to that too.
Yeah.
Awareness. So coming back to that real quick, essentially,
awareness versus perception.
And along with the why. When you're coming to a decision of if you feel like it's morally unjust in your mind compared to morally just, you just need to take into consideration of your loved ones, the people who are closest to you. Is this going to hurt them or is this going to help them?
Same thing with yourself too.
Exactly. Oh, definitely. Yeah. It definitely is a two-way street on that.
Well, it's literally the same. It's one thing. It's one thing, dude. It's the thing that you're doing. Is it gonna hurt you and them, or is it gonna help you or them?
Exactly.
That's what I'm talking about. Authentic love. That's the Most High. That's God's love right there.
Yes, it is.
Because when you're doing it out of your own accord, it's just yourself. You're doing it for someone else's accord, it's there. But when you're doing it out of the Most High's, God's will, your free will, and you're using that, by default, it's covering both at the same time,
yes,
baby.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, bro, thank you for bringing that up. Awareness versus perception. Find some time to be still, literally. I can throw you all the things you can do from yoga, meditation, but really, the ultimate thing is really start doing things that make your heart expand, because then you'll start to see the illusions. And it'll be hard because you think that's part of your identity. You think that's who you are.
Yeah.
But you being in pain, that's not who you are.
Yeah.
You know that already. We know that already. So yeah, bro. Thanks, Jacob, bro. Appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate it, Nico.
Uncut Talk TV, aka
The flow state of mind up in here.
the flow mind state, the flow state of mind. Source Records, you know. If we post this is first one. You know, rough draft. You know, let us know how we do.
It's gotta go up.
Yeah, give us some constructive criticism. This was just naturally raw how it is, but yeah, you can follow me on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Source Nico, but my name is spelled Nyko. But I'm pretty sure most people that are gonna hear this already know me right now. You know, until you know it's like a bomb in this blow up season, but that'll come with consistency. And yeah, dude. You want to throw any of your socials, or you want to say anything?
Only. The source.
Cool. Well, all right. Thank you all for tuning in. If you made it all the way over here, we'll you know how to contact me.
Tune in next week, people. It's coming.
Peace. That was solid.
That was solid as fuck.
The Shore, West Coast, Nico, we taking off. Source, the Source, Vintage 2020.
Exclusive only. The source.